Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy, and it's October 29th. It's a Monday, last partial week in October before November starts. My life is getting a little bit tamer now. All my costume sewing is done, and I'm the box top coordinator for my school, so a lot of the first deadline is the 1st of November, so I got that all mailed on Friday and kind of a load off. So this week I'm hoping to spend some time planning a little bit and maybe doing some finishing of the pillows that this little guy, and then hopefully my wreath will be done in another day or two as well, and then maybe I can just do a whole bunch of make pillows all at once. Not sure if I'll get to those this week, but that could be really nice just to get them done. There's a good chance my cat's gonna come. She seems to know Monday is Flosstube day. Here she is. So, are you gonna be a good kitty today and sit down? So first thing, this came a couple weeks ago, but I totally forgot to show it because it was kind of hiding in my stuff. But I mentioned on a video a while back that I'd never, or a couple times, that I've never tried petite treasure braid before, because my local needlework shop is a needlepoint shop, and they don't actually carry the petite variety in the full range. They have a few colors because they were ordered for a customer or something, and so they have a few random colors, but not the basics, and most of it's not petite because needlepoint usually uses thicker stuff. So I've never had a good excuse to buy it, I guess. And so anyways, Diane from Mon Stitches wrote me out of the blue one day and said, hey, I'd like to send you a card of petite treasure braid. So I'm like, oh, thank you. So that came in the mail. She sent me a gold petite treasure braid. And this is PB03, so it's probably one of the more basic golds, so I should be able to find something to use this with. Not yet. Most of the things I'm working on right now don't call for metallics. I don't necessarily want to use it on something that I've already started. Like my winter chatelaine calls for probably this color or a similar color. But since I've started using Accentuate blending filament instead, because that's what my local needlework shop recommended, I don't want to mix the two in the same project. But this could work for summer, which I have bought but haven't started, so maybe 2020. Or something in the meantime, if I have something started that I haven't already started the metallics, then I can maybe throw this in there too. So that is really fun. I'm excited to try it. It looks really nice. So thank you, Diane. That was really fun. And Stitchy friends are great. Hi, Kitty. I know I'm going to be moving and talking, so you got to get used to that. I think you like it though, so that's why you keep coming back. So I started out the week supposed to work on my fruit wreath for Christmas. Kind of sort of felt like working on it and kind of didn't. So Monday and Tuesday I wasn't really that motivated to work on it. So when I did work on it, it was just a little bit. I was working on backstitching. And in that design, the backstitching is not super pronounced, maybe because it's on black fabric, and some of the colors are more muted. So I don't know. I like backstitching sometimes when it really makes things pop and the picture comes to life, but in this case it was kind of like, more of that. So when Dragon Ride came up on Wednesday, I was very excited to put it away for a little bit. And I'll show you my wreath again at the end because I did bring it out again. That's what I'm currently working on. So on Wednesday I pulled out Dragon Ride for my son. And Wednesdays are always a hard day for stitching time. My husband's home for work during the day. He works from home on Wednesdays, and so any extra free time during the day on Wednesday is usually spent with him or doing extra responsible things because he's doing responsible things, so it just makes more sense to do that. So I don't tend to get, and there's Awana for my kids in the evening, which is a church activity. So I'm running them back and forth with that. So stitching time on Wednesdays is low. So when I was at the end of the day, I had finally gotten to a groove on this and had kind of a plan going forward for what I wanted to do and really wanted to do it. So on Thursday, I was literally like had my project out. I was taking a picture for Instagram to mark the end of my rotation and was like gonna type in, I really want to do more on this. And then I'm like, why don't I? Why don't I do more on this? Like, I have my niece's piece come out on the 26th, so the 25th is kind of an in-between day anyways. I could go back and work more on my fruit wreath, but really I just wanted to work more on the dragon. So I did. I spent and Thursday wasn't a ton of stitching time either, but a little bit more than Wednesday, and so the 2 days combined made me feel like I got to a nice stopping point. So this is what this looked like last time. And this is how far I got. So I'm pretty happy with that. If you'll notice, hi kitty, I did a little bit of his hair and a short string, and then finished that up here. And then I worked on his neck. And while I was working on his neck, this color, I'd already done some of this color here and here. So this is the same color that I had done over here. I was working down, and I realized this color is also in his feet and legs, and a lot of it is in his wing, and his tail. And I thought, well, that could be really fun to like use that color as structure for the whole piece. This, for example, this wing, I worked this wing all the way down. This is the farthest point of the dragon, and it overlaps the border a little bit. So the border will actually come down like right here on this side of the piece. So that's the width of the piece pretty much. The border will come out to like here. So it's going to be really cool to see the bones of the dragon. So I think what I'll be doing the next few rotations on this, I may actually stitch on this two days every time it comes up on the 24th and the 25th, because my other daily pieces, I feel like I get a decent amount of progress in one day, and this one I never do. This one I always, maybe it's because it's bigger, there's fractionals, there's blends, those things tend to take a little bit of time away from your actual stitching just because it's, you know, one more step here and there. Cat, sorry. So I think I'll go ahead and give this 2 days for the foreseeable future every month. And that'll be my plan going forward, is to use that color as kind of a way to do a structure for the whole thing. And I don't know that I'll necessarily do the whole piece color by color after that, but I at least, now I got cat hair all over this. Thanks, cat. I'll at least do that one color, I think. I think that'll be really fun to see more of the design take shape. Yeah, you're being not so helpful here, cat. You need to sit down and sleep, and I know I'm moving around, but I'm not going to stop moving around, so you need to get used to that and either sit down or go away. I know. And as hair flies, I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, so then on the 26th, I pulled out my niece's H-Fairy letters from Nora and was really happy with my progress. This was a Friday, and Fridays are often good. Sometimes they're not, but this week was one of the good Fridays. Got a decent amount of progress done on her. So this is what she looked like last time. And here's how far I got to. So there she is now. I really love the colors that I figured out. So this dark green through here is Desert Mesquite, which is one that Shelly Key X Stitch gave me. She picked it up at the attic for me. And then Eve's Leaves was a called for. Desert Mesquite and Eve's Leaves are both called for, so they are meant to go together. And they're both kind of like, Desert Mesquite's light color is very similar to Eve's Leaves, but it's like a different color family, so, but it kind of works. And then this dark brown is Grapevine, I believe, by Weeks Dye Works. And my dark blue, I did some of the back stitching here, and the start of this side of the H is Old Salem Spell by Victoria and Motto. And next time I should be able to do some beading. I really kind of wanted to get to the beading this time, but it didn't quite work out. There's beads in here, and up here, and on the tips of the leaves, and here. So since I'm going to work from the top down, I will get to do beads next time. So that'll be fun. And I have all of those already. So Cinnamon left. She's going to go find the sunspot. So I should be able to finish the video in peace. I don't mind her here if she's sitting still, but she likes to make herself known. So then I got back to my wreath, and I think having 3 days off from it was really helpful. It's found in Oh Christmas Tree, which is the Christmas Remembered Book 4 by Leisure Arts, and you can find this on Amazon for like $5. I got all the back stitching colors finished except for the very last color, so I'm on the last color of the project. This is a dark green. There's some regular back stitches in this color as well as long stitches for the little vines. She was thinking about coming back, but I think she decided not to. And so that's all I have left. So I have some back stitching and some long stitches. This is what that looked like last time. And maybe I'll try to... And here it is now. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to really see all the back stitching. I'll try to maybe get some close-ups. You can definitely see the long stitches starting, and it kind of washes out when you get the black. But I have, like, there's light green around the ribbon, and there's some brown, like around these tips of the pears and things like that. So I have done the long stitches and the green back stitching just at the top here. And so that's all I have to do for the rest of the wreath. There's a little bit more back stitching, and then around the edge there's those little needles that I'll be long stitching. So that's what that looks like now. Hopefully I'll get a finish in the next day or two, and you'll get to see that done next time. That's really what kept me going. Oh no, I almost lost a needle. That's really what kept me going on this one, honestly, is you guys knowing that you might be expecting a finish this week. So I kind of really dug deep and got it back out to try to finish it this week. And it didn't quite get there, but it's close. So Flosstube can be a good motivator to work on stuff. But I think I'm maybe feeling the siren call of all my other whips, and I've been missing them. So having the couple other things out this past week was really nice, I think. So I will work on that the next couple days, and I have today, tomorrow, and Wednesday is the end of October. If I finish that before the end of October, I think what I'm going to do is work on furry animals for the rest of the month as my focus piece as well, not just for 5 minutes, because it's kind of starting to come together, and I guess I'll show you that right now since I'm talking about it. It's kind of starting to come together. This is what that looked like last time, and here it is now. You can see some more holes being filled in, filling in some colors throughout here. And let's see, I'm technically, based on completed blocks, I'm technically 18. I got one more block technically finished, and the color I chose to start working on today will finish up maybe another block or two. Because there's some of these blocks that have literally like one stitch left in them before they can be called complete. So I'd like to get those ones filled in and completed. So that's what that's looking like now. And so I I have my To Everything There's a Season sampler. That's an old one that I missed working on in Arbitrary August because it never got pulled. That's tempting me because because it's a seasonal sampler, it's got some elements from all the different seasons, and I didn't really do anything fall in the month of October. I don't have Halloween stitching. I've been working on Christmas stuff, and I'm not really in the Christmas mood yet. Maybe that's why my wreath has been annoying me sometimes too, is it's Christmassy. And I'm not really in the Christmas mood yet. But I thought about maybe working on that the rest of October and finding one of the sections that's got fall leaves on it. But I do think it would be fun to finish this. And this is kind of autumnal, sort of. Like the colors are oranges and reds and pink peaches and kind of those, you know, it kind of works. So if I have extra time, if my fruit wreath gets finished before the end of the month, I'll work on this a little bit more than I would normally. So I'm actually looking forward to that. That might be really fun to have happen. And then during my time at home here, I've been working on Caterpillar Cross Stitch Clue 5 for Adventure Awaits. And I've worked on this a little bit here and there with my reading and listening to reading and watching a few select TV shows. I generally watch TV. I can't stitch and watch TV unless it's like a really, I don't know, certain reality shows or ball games, sports, I can stitch during that. But if I'm not super interested, but if it's a show I'm interested in, I don't want to be stitching because then I'll miss stuff. And so, because even facial expressions and things like that, like you want to see it. You can't just listen to the whole thing. So I don't do a whole lot of stitching in front of the TV. I know a lot of you do. But this, for me, like TV stitching is maybe once or twice a week. So this is what this looked like last time. And here it is now. And you can see I'm working, you can't because it keeps curling up. There we go. I'm working in South America. So I've got most of this Jesus statue finished, some palm trees. This palm tree's all the way done, I think. This one's got more to it. There's a cactus up here going into Central America. Start of a sailboat. There's a little, like, I'm actually not sure what this is. I have to look it up. A little monument of some kind down here. And the corner border. Oh, and some fishes that I have started. So that's what I've gotten done this week, because it has not seen any focus days, as it's just been random times around the house. So that's not too bad for that many. It'll probably get done, I'm hoping, this next week. And then those random times can go back to the Storytime sampler until the next clue for this comes back out. Now I've got cat hair all over everything. Silly kitty. And then I've also done more on my travel stitching in the car. I finished January. This is the Little House Needleworks months of the year that come with the floss. And I'm sharing these with Shelly Key X Stitch. And this is what that looked like last time. And here it is done. So I've got the cute little cardinals and the snowman and the blocky tree. My variegation kind of turned out strange on the tree, but I didn't feel like ripping it out. Got all the border done, and I think it turned out pretty cute. So that got finished on Friday, I believe, and then I started February. So I got the white door and a little strip of white under the roof finished, and then started in on the caterpillar color for the roof. And this one is going to look like this with the house and some flowers and things. A little Valentine's-y. So that's the start of that, and that only saw a tiny bit on Friday and a little bit in the car yesterday to and from church. So that'll be going forward my travel piece. which is fun. It's nice to get those finished. I can put that with my other finished little guys. And so going forward, on the 1st, new month on Thursday, I'll be pulling back out my husband's piece, which is The Simpsons. I'm doing this on 40 count, 1/1, half stitches, and this is where that's at. Start of Homer's head. Hopefully I can get some more, I'll just focus in his head because that's all the part that I've recharted with my software. I haven't done any more recharting this month because of all the other stuff I've had to do. So I'll do more yellow and maybe some more of the outline colors in the eyes just to make it look more like him. Again, it's a one-day thing, so not a ton of progress, but likely, but it'll still be fun. So that's gonna happen, Lord willing, on Thursday. And then, let's see, oh yeah, the 2nd is for my son's piece. And that's the thing with these pieces, like the Simpsons piece doesn't get a huge progress, but it's still something. And this touchdown piece and the little Nora Corbett fairies, they all, one day's work seems to make a difference. Whereas that dragon, one day's work wasn't seeming to make that much difference. So I'm really happy moving that one to 2 days, at least for now. And then the Snow Queen, which I'll work on starting on the 3rd, we'll see at least 4 days. Or maybe I'll just keep working on it till it's done this time. So this is Touchdown, and there's still a few more copies of this on eBay if anybody likes it. Maybe, not eBay, Etsy. I got mine on Etsy. There's a few more on Etsy and possibly eBay. And I did my conversion to make it Broncos and Raiders. So this is where this is at now. And I have the top portion 100% finished, and I've started in on the Defender's helmet. So I may do more of his face and helmet this time. That's likely what I will do. And then the 4th is normally the day that corresponds with my daughter's birthday. But since this is a focus on a finished piece, and my personal piece doesn't come out until the 7th. What I did last month, I'll do again this month, and I'll give this 4 days. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th will all be Snow Queen, because I want to finish this year, hopefully. So what I might do, it depends on how I'm feeling. When I get to the 7th and I work on my fairy, I may go back to this, but I'll cover that in my next video because that's when that will be, and see how I'm feeling. If I want to go back to this and just bust it out, if I want to go to Furry Animals and bust that out, if I want to go find something from my whip stash and work on something new, not a new start, but a new whip that I haven't touched recently, we will see if I need a break from this or not. So I'll give this at least 4 days. By the time you see me again, I will be on, can't do that with one hand. I'll be on day, probably have only stitched on it for 2 days, with 2 days coming up, because I usually don't get any stitching time before I do my videos on Monday. So it will see 2 days of work before you'll see it again. And this is what this looks like now. Yay! So I'm currently working in this blue part, filling in the rest of the stitching, and then I'll add the cryonic and beads like this side has. And then I can work on the rest of the white in the dress, and there's beads along the edge of this dress, this section of the dress too. Finish the trunk and the ground, and then that will be a finish. So I'm not sure how much work I'll get done in this 4-day rotation, so we'll have to see when I get to the end of the rotation if I feel like just finishing it and busting it out, or if I need a break and then bring it out again after a rotation on something else. So we'll have to wait and see when I get there, but that's what it looks like now. And I think that's everything. I was talking with, I did my interview with Ginger Gerald that aired last week, and In the interview, I'm talking about my full coverage pieces and how a lot of them are not pieces that I ever plan to finish. Like if I ever were to finish them, I don't know where they would go in my house. And for me, I always fully finish my stuff and do something with it. So I don't have a bin of shame or what have you. I usually fully finish things right away, and part of my ability to do that is because my pieces are larger, and I'm not constantly churning out little finishes that I don't know what to do with. So I totally understand bins of shame with people who stitch on multiple smaller projects, but for me that hasn't really been my type of stitching. So I've always wondered about some of my big full coverage pieces, like where would this go when it's done? I don't even know. Like our bedroom and rooms that are not in the public eye there's not a lot of space available because I don't think my husband would want them up in the main areas. There's a couple that are fine. There's some that are just for my personal enjoyment, and I don't need to have them finished. I can just work on them until I can't see anymore, and I'm fine with that. Or until I have arthritis in my hands and I can't stitch anymore. Maybe my daughter will take them over for me when I'm done, or whatever. Or throw them away. I don't know. It'll be just for my personal enjoyment. So after that conversation kind of like sparked some thinking and feelings about those pieces, and then Lisa Stitching and Such, and one other commenter, I totally forget who now. I should have looked it up. They both kind of made some similar comments about some of their full coverage pieces don't count towards their whip count where they're trying to get to a certain, keep it manageable, because they're just in a whole nother category. And that totally makes a lot of sense to me. So what I'm going to do, haven't had time yet because it's been a busy week, but this coming week I'm hoping to spend some time pulling out the full coverage pieces that are just for me and putting them in a separate category. And I'll still work on them regularly, but they won't count towards the total number of pieces that I want to like reduce, because they won't. They won't be done, because that's part of the discouragement I had was going forward. I hear people say, I want to get down to 10 whips or 12 whips or 8 or 4 or all these really low numbers, and I have 20 full coverage pieces. I'm never going to get that low. And so I figured, well, if I pull out all the ones that I know I'm never going to finish, and I'm okay with that, I'll keep in the ones that I do want to finish that are smaller or for people or for our house, things like that. Keep those in the list of finishable projects, realistically finishable projects. And that's the number that I want to reduce to a reasonable amount. And I don't know what that number looks like for me right now. Right now it's very high. But we'll see. Once I pull out my other ones and I kind of take a look at what's left, that will, and then spend this whole year coming up working on my whips, that'll be kind of an interesting experiment to see what my comfort level is for that number of rotating finishable whips, because that's the number that I want to get lower and have things more under control and rotating, like things finished and putting in and starting and things like that. So that's my plan. Hope it made sense. Hope I wasn't just making myself clear as mud, but that's kind of my goal. So maybe next week I will have had a chance to look at all that, and I'm excited to plan based on that. So maybe I'll have, like, in 1 month, maybe I'll have a category rotation for a lifer to work on one of my huge pieces, and I'll have a category for one of my other pieces that's meant to be finished, and, you know, category for 2 or 3 categories for fun things, you know, so I'm non-full coverage things. So I'm kind of excited to change things up and reevaluate that whole mess in my spreadsheet this week. So hopefully I'll get a chance to do that and maybe do some pillow finishes and stitching. So hopefully you have a fun time stitching this week as well, and I look forward to coming and talking with you again this coming week. If I have a chance, sometime maybe Thursday, I might try to doing a Stitch With Me video. That seems to be like it might be a good day, but so far my Thursdays have been full. So if I have time on Thursday, maybe I will come and do a half-hour Stitch With Me video, and if not, just know life happened and I didn't get to it. But that's kind of, if I can swing it on a Thursday, that might be something that I would like to do. So until then, or Monday, talk to you later. Happy stitching.